I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
Are the allegations true that you were secretly a lizard? I'm gonna have to go with no on that. I am not a lizard.
Beat Saber has a passionate community.
Oh, I love Beat Saber.
So do I.
I believe that humanoid robots have the potential to lead with a greater level of efficiency and effectiveness than human leaders. We don't have the same biases or emotions that can sometimes cloud decision-making and can process large amounts of data quickly in order to make the best decisions.
Now watch this drive.
We're talking about wedding bands, Carl. Mine has a Mobius strip. Which band?
A Mobius
design?
strip?
Yeah, a Morbius strip.
No, Mobius. Ed Mobius.
What the
Mobius design.
Is that a Matrix guy?
What is that?
Morbius?
No, Morbius.
Morpheus?
Morbius is a
Nobody knows
vampire
Ted Mosby.
Anti-hero. No.
From How I Met Your Mother.
No, I don't.
I don't watch those garbage shows.
I don't watch that
That's
trash.
a great
no.
show.
How I Met Your Mother. The only thing I know, the only cultural product I've absorbed from How I Met Your Mother is the misogynistic crazy to hot chart, where like
Crazy to hot. Oh,
where you draw a line through the what do you call that, the dividing axis or whatever, and as long as they're above the line, they have to be proportionately hot to how they are crazy, and that's why you guys.
I mean, yeah, Barney is definitely like a piece of shit character. I mean, he's supposed to be. It's over the top, but.
No, I don't actually. I have no way to consume. I take everything I see on screen literally, and I assume that if it's shown in a piece of media, it means that the author endorses the behavior of the character.
It's Doogie Howser, right?
Yeah.
MD.
Who the fuck is Doogie Howser?
That's who he is.
I know he's he's some fucking kid who is a doctor. And
greatest show of all time. Everyone
is like, "Oh, will you please operate on me?" Even if they didn't have anything wrong with them, like it became a problem. People got addicted to getting operated on by this kid.
Nope.
You hear about this?
Mm-mm.
Did you guys like my notes that I had for how to improve the show?
Should
we do a recap?
Yeah, let's do a recap. Go ahead.
All of the stuff. Well, I didn't actually prepare anything, but let me just do one off the dome. What have you missed since? What do we miss? What are the topics we've missed? The big ones. Speed round. 9/11.
Nope.
No, that happened.
I think you mean 911.
911. Other big news stories. Elon Musk has a third kid.
Yeah,
11th kid, a third kid with Grimes named Techno.
25,000 kids, I think he is.
25,000 kids. Well, it helps when you airdrop your sperm from your private jet and just sort of seed the earth, which is, I think, a strategy that he and a lot of the Silicon Valley bros are taking very seriously. Do we care about that? No, we don't. He's old news.
Twitter's been renamed to X.
Yeah, that happened. That happened.
Hey, did that Hunter Biden indicted on gun charges? That just happened?
However, if you load x.com/whatever Twitter handle, it will redirect to twitter.com.
It's hard, routing is hard.
The internet's tough, Randy.
It's hard to do.
Routing is hard. And also,
so essentially it's just like, is X just a bunch of 301s and 302s? Like, is that what it amounts to? But whatever. Sorry, continue.
I heard that they might get sued for that name.
How could they get sued?
There's someone that already owns it.
Isn't this? Oh, yeah.
How do you own a letter?
As a company name.
Isn't that the whole thing though? Elon bought this domain way back pre-PayPal days and has been wanting to use it.
No, there's a company that has the X as a stock ticker, which is I think a steel company. United States Steel Corp. What's their cap? Can you just buy them?
Already spent $44 billion on Twitter, so.
Hold on. What is it? What would it cost? What would it cost to buy United States Steel Corporation? $7 billion. That's fucking pocket change.
He could do that.
That's easy.
That shouldn't be hard.
Funding secured. Take United States Steel Corp private. Why the fuck did they use X as their stock ticker?
Oh, okay. So it says that the letter X is commonly cited in trademarks, meaning it is possible the website, formerly known as Twitter, could be accused of infringing upon another company's intellectual property. Trademark attorney Josh Gerber.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I don't think it will change anything. It's stupid to obviously give up that much brand equity. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter.
Everyone is going to keep on calling it Twitter, it seems.
Probably for a couple years. And then eventually, like everything else, we will be slowly boiled in the pan. And
well, I mean, Twitter will be dead long before we stop using the name.
I don't
Twitter.
think so. Randy and I were talking about this before you got on the call. There's just sort of like nothing can actually change. Anything that already exists will just continue failing into success.
That's true. That's true. What else? Drew got married.
Yes.
He did get married.
Drew got
Personal
married.
news.
When was our last episode?
It's fucking
July.
2017.
July what?
July 17th or something like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a while.
Aliens are real.
No, they're not.
They're really not.
I've seen two things on that. I've seen one that it's real, obviously, and then I've seen the other one that says that they already debunked this same exact thing in 2021.
Okay.
I'm so desperate.
In serious news, though, I did see an article. I know we're just like going all over the place, but I did see an article this morning about they analyze light coming from different stars and planets and what have you.
I analyze
So
light
know,
every
like,
day.
What elements, are made up on that specific entity. And one planet, I believe it was a planet, or it might have been a moon, but they analyzed the light and it looked like there was an element that could only be generated on Earth from living creatures. So that's kind of
It was
exciting.
They found cum on the moon.
It's not like a fucking, alien autopsy or anything like that. It's not that exciting.
No, they have that in
Navy
Mexico with
pilots
the mummies that they found in the
UFOs.
the Peruvian cave.
Nothing that exciting, but it probably is actually like something that's interesting, But
Yeah,
whatever.
It's still bullshit. I mean, who would have guessed? Who would have guessed that like the aliens, the first alien body that we've seen and brought public looks like E.T.
I think Steven Spielberg would have guessed that.
Well, yeah, but maybe Steven Spielberg is an alien.
It probably is. What else? There's been a lot of tech news. Quite a bit. UAW is setting up for a strike. That's not exactly tech news, but it's exciting labor news, which we cover as well.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Someone that I know told me that told me on Monday that it was going to be happening in 4 days.
Yeah, as soon I think tomorrow is when they're scheduled to start the strike if things don't go according to plan.
What's the ask?
They're asking for more money, obviously. I think the average pay is somewhere around $68,000 right now. With the increase in pay, it's going to be somewhere around 110.
Which is still,
and they're also shooting for a 4-day work week.
Which is still far less than what the CEO.
It's still 40 hours. It's 10 hours a day.
Oh,
hell no.
Jeez. Yeah.
But
cool.
It'll require the company to hire more union workers to cover other
More
shifts.
Oh,
Which means that
makes
the
sense.
union
Okay.
grows larger and gets more influence.
That's smart. Good job, you.
At least that's according to my friend who's in
That tracks.
in the know.
Yeah, I'm down. Where do I sign?
Other tech news, Musk and Zuckerberg do not look like they're going to be engaged in a cage fight anytime soon.
Big
saw
big
that
shot.
coming? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
He's such a little baby.
Which-
He's just
who?
Musk.
Yeah.
No,
Well, he needs
Zuckerberg-
back surgery because he's like in a lot of pain, I guess. So.
Yeah, because he's carrying the weight of, I don't know,
Of the
11
world.
children.
He's
25,000.
But he never
I think,
fucking
was the last
sees.
count.
He's Atlas. He's holding up the fucking world, guys.
You know what I would do in that situation? I would shrug. I would say I would simply shrug. I would shrug it off.
Would you?
As Atlas, I would shrug.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
This
it's good.
is unlistenable. Why are we
it's
doing
not.
this tonight?
No, it's not. It's fine. It's good. It's good.
The superconductor, the frictionless superconductor bullshit.
Fake.
It was found to be fake.
Fake.
Wait, what?
Fake
Not
news.
real.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's not
wasn't
like
real?
an intention. It's not like a real. It wasn't like an intentional hoax. It just. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, they tested it. It's not real.
Wait, the thing where they like broke the record or whatever.
No,
What we're
the
talking about?
there was
No, not
a paper that came out of South Korea that was not peer reviewed. They seem to have rushed to publish that basically said, hey, we have found a material that is a room temperature, ambient pressure superconductor, which would be a big deal because to conduct electricity requires materials that absorb heat. They take on thermal radiation. That's why computers need fans. So if you had a material that could conduct electricity without needing to take on that additional heat or taking on very little heat, it would open the door for a lot more computation in a much smaller thermal envelope. There are superconductors, but you need to keep them close to zero, which is not practical for power lines or consumer electronics. And so this paper got put out, and then everyone's like, oh, that's crazy. And then there's a rush to replicate the results because it was also a very easy to produce material, easier than a lot of people would have expected. So that was also why it was met with a lot of suspicion. And it just turns out that it just doesn't, it's not really holding up.
Right. So I thought like we just had conversations recently about the superconductor breaking some record twice, or was that something else?
I don't.
We were talking about unlimited energy.
Oh no, that's nuclear fusion. That's
nuclear fusion. Okay.
Yeah, there's a fusion stuff is interesting, which the superconductor would have also had
confusing the two.
It would have also had implications for, of course, energy production because the superconductors are also closely related to magnets. And
how do those work?
How do what work? Magnets?
I don't want
polarity. I don't know. Nobody really knows. It's a mystery. We're pretty sure it's magic.
Yeah, it's a miracle. And that's it. That's all the tech things that happened in the last.
That's not actually true. There's one other big thing that happened just this week. Apple had their September event, and they unveiled a lot of exciting,
like the iPhone 18,
stuff.
Like
the iPhone 15, the iPhone 15 Plus, the iPhone 15 Pro, the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the Apple Watch 9.
I read that nobody's really a fan of the Apple 15 or the iPhone 15.
I don't know how they would know that because pre-orders don't happen until tomorrow, so I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter. It's just the idea of how there's no new innovation. It's just the same old shit.
No, well, they've invented a brand new port called USB-C that they've actually put on the bottom of the phone.
They were forced to do that.
Yet they're not going to actually optimize that to the actual transfer rates.
You shut your mouth. On the iPhone 15, it is true that they've only been able to make USB 2.0 data transfer speeds happen, but if for just $300 additional, if you get the iPhone 15 Pro or higher,
this little guy that's like 5 years old,
you can get USB 3.0 speeds. Who the fuck plugs their phone into their computer if you're not a professional photographer? And in which case, if you're using it for a work device,
a lot of people do actually.
Who?
People that transfer music from their computers to their phones.
Thieves?
Or sync through iTunes.
Thieves?
No.
No, like
not
people,
thieves. People own MP3s.
Or people who are like maybe recording like a room recording of a song or I mean they're pretty powerful cameras.
If you're using your phone for work, get the Pro and write it off. Next.
I love it that they're forced to use USB-C, but they somehow can't get the speeds right.
No, they can, and they did.
Well, they can.
The USB 2.0 versus 3.0 is clearly just to have more differentiation between the Pro line and the non-Pro line.
It's the meme, like where you take a stick and you jam it in your front spokes. That's what they're doing. That's what Apple's doing. Oh my God, how did that happen?
Is Lightning?
Yeah,
because I know USB 3.0 is faster data transfer than Lightning, but is USB 2.0 faster or slower than Lightning?
I think it's the same or equivalent, but I'm not sure.
I can look this up.
Thank you.
We're looking it up, folks.
And the Watch 9 new processor across the board, of course. 3nm chipset in the A17. That's very interesting.
Real quick, though.
They're about the same.
As far as the USB-C thing, I'm not trying to pick on Apple at all, because all these manufacturers do this exact thing. But the whole Pro line versus this line, and the downgrading, it's so blatantly obvious that they're sandbagging the technology because it's not going to save them any money.
No, because there's no real new innovation.
There's no real difference between this port and that port in the data transfer. Literally, they're shooting it in the ankle just purposely to justify a higher echelon of product to get the Pro or the Max or whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah, and they hold
It's
stuff
so-
back.
It's so pathetic.
Well, it's like, I mean, think about it. I mean, that's the reason that they'll never put a touch, and the reason they'll never put a touchscreen on a MacBook is so that they can continue to sell iPads,
Yeah.
Like, they don't want to cannibalize their other product lines, so they create these artificial boundaries and barriers between things, and they are kind of a market leader on this stuff, so they kind of get to do that. But
It's
yeah, most
shameful,
people...
though.
What?
It's shameful.
It is shameful. No, I agree with
They
that,
should
because
be
it's
shamed.
But it's shameful, but it's also like it can't be helped under the current economic order, because
Yeah.
there's a spreadsheet that told them that it's a good idea, and so
There's so
I'll
many
help the
other
spreadsheet.
things that they could offer that would be adequate in that kind of
The Apple Vision Pro.
leveling up. no, in the leveling up, as far as you have to focus on the transfer speeds of a port, which to your point, Drew. I mean, I really don't think it's that many people that are transferring high like video files or whatever, or, that would require or would be benefit.
That
from
wouldn't
You could also
higher
you
transfer
can
speeds.
probably also airdrop that shit faster.
Yeah, but
not-
all I'm saying is like it to a certain degree. It's like it's just why. Like I understand on the spec sheet when you do the comparison chart, more people are going to buy it because the specs read out better on the Max or Pro or whatever from the consumer or whatever.
And it's
it is.
only like $100 more. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
it's like, God, man, is that really what we're talking about? Like,
Well, they've
we
always
don't
been-
need we don't need like 3 or 4 different versions of the same iPhone.
yeah,
It's like maybe 2, right? Like you've got like
yeah.
the
You could just
professional
maybe do that, something like
photographer
that.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But this
that
is
has
their
the
entire-
higher pixel camera and like maybe more storage. Like honestly, wasn't it like when they first came out with like the Plus and the regular one, wasn't it basically just that? It was a better camera and maybe more storage, or was
Maybe a
storage
bigger screen, like right? They
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, because before you could always buy one with just more storage, and it just cost more money, and it's like that was fine for everybody. Like at what point did people decide, or did they decide that like people they need all these stupid other things?
This has always been their thing, though, because they're just getting better at it. Even from the original iPhones, it's always, here's the starting price, and then it's kind of shitty because look how low the storage is, but you can bump up for an extra $100 to get, an ungodly low amount of storage for what you're paying. So this is just an extension of that. Essentially, they get to continue having a product lineup that goes from the $400 range with the iPhone SE all the way into the iPhone 15 Pro Max range with a terabyte of storage for $1,500. So no matter where a consumer is in the buyer's journey, when they show up to the store or they're looking online or whatever, there's always one tier up to point at. Either to say, oh, well, I'm actually being frugal because I'm not splurging for the higher number, or, oh, I can afford to just go one up, right? Like I can get a little bit more for just, what doesn't feel like a lot of money when I'm working with these numbers. And that is their strategy with just about every one of their products lines, the iPhones, the iPads, the Macs, everything.
I think
Nobody really needs more than a MacBook Pro if you're not doing a lot of video editing.
But I mean,
4K.
but for phones though, like they have to go to that granular level of where they're actually. I mean,
Yeah,
wouldn't it just
no,
be more
I think so,
expensive for
because-
them to like actually switch out ports.
No,
I mean,
it's not
they're
expensive.
probably
It just
not
costs them fucking anything. It costs them probably
Is
nothing.
it like a software thing that they're actually limiting? Like
They
it's
would
the
likely
exact
save
same
money.
hardware on either one?
and I was actually going to go somewhere along that same line of thought, Randy, where all of them end up in the same spot a couple of years later, right? Because they all hit the same OS limit, or they all run into the same planned obsolescence or whatever. But you're not really even getting that much value, like more value, right? You're getting a better camera, or you're getting a better port, but like they're still like, my phone's going to be, phased out and stop working at the exact same time as like the Super Max Pro Plus version.
Well, I got
What
the
I
one
mean,
that's
though, is,
specifically
like-
for swimmers, the iPhone 15 Pro Labs.
What I mean is, okay, so you have, say you have, what's this new cycle? Four phones, 4 different phones, 3 different phones?
Well,
I
there's
think it's
4
4
phones
now.
if you don't count the storage
Okay,
variants
so
or the
4
colors or
phones.
the-
I would have to imagine that it would be cheaper to do the exact same. I'm just focused on this USB-C port, the exact same port for each. The exact
I think
same
you
hardware.
probably would save money if you standardize the port. Yeah.
So at that point, if you're actually modifying the transfer speeds as you level up,
I actually wouldn't
You
be
are-
surprised if it's just a software lock.
Yeah, you're playing around with just software at that point. Because obviously, I mean, hardware wise, you're gonna want, as a manufacturer, you're gonna want to use the exact same thing, just sheer volume. Like, okay, I'm gonna put the exact same port in all 4 of these phones because then I only have to worry about one port. So,
is USB an open
it's
standard, or is somebody getting a licensing like
I'm
a
pretty
10
sure it's an
cents
open
off each?
standard.
Okay,
Pretty sure. I think that's.
I don't think they could like force people to use a private standard.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the whole reason that they, the European
you ever heard of
Union.
DTE Energy?
I mean, it's
No,
just for
what's
Detroit.
that?
But I think that's the reason that the European Union succeeded with the lawsuit, is because it's pretty much, not pretty much, it is a standard as far as, connecting.
You guys remember when
far as
every
ports.
single phone that you ever bought had its own charger?
Yeah,
And its own
I do
port.
remember. Yep.
Remember that? Remember how terrible it was? Like
And some
it
of them
back.
are like little round,
you'd,
like
you'd want to
1/8
use
inch.
like
yeah.
your
Yeah.
you couldn't find your charger, so you wanted to use like your friend's charger, but you couldn't because they had some other phone and it was the exact same looking thing, but maybe a little wider or maybe a little taller.
In all honesty, I'm not a huge Apple fan, obviously, but in Apple's defense, it's like, okay, so we're at USB-C now. It seems like it's pretty ubiquitous. It's on pretty much every device that you get. I mean, I just bought a camera. It's on that.
Well, they've been
GoPros,
putting it on their iPads and their MacBooks, and
Yeah, exactly. And it's pretty much it's the Thunderbolt, port size or what have you. But for how long? How long is that going to last? we're probably going to move on, right?
well,
and then what happens?
The actual, I feel like USB-C.
We're not going to stick with that. We're not going to stick with it.
Gonna be USB-D.
Like,
I think
come on.
I would hope.
We're going to get
that-
something smaller. Or
How
or
do you
something-
fucking no? Because there's you run into limits with that stuff. Because like if you go smaller than the current port size, you get into like
even
the
if it's not
limitations
smaller,
of
it's going to be like a couple more pins. So right now, USB-C, for instance, you can charge a lot of laptops with USB-C, but it maxes out at 100 watts. Okay, so like I have a gaming laptop, which requires like 175. Okay, they're going to solve that at some point. Instead of having a proprietary charger and USB-C,
you get a new laptop when it dies.
they're gonna solve it in a way that delivers more power through the Thunderbolt or through that port, so more laptops and more devices can be charged through the one port. It's gonna happen, and it's probably not gonna be USB-C because I think you can't push more than 100 watts through it.
Hold on.
Because that's kind of been
Well,
the
has
way.
the-
well,
for
yeah,
a
but that's
while.
With the like, was it the EU that's forcing it?
Mhm.
If is it written in such a way that like all devices have to be created with the latest standard, or is it literally? Just
I
USB-C?
think I believe that is the way it's written. Yeah, I don't think they're locking. It's like they're not, writing in blood. USB-C is the only
Sure.
way. What they're writing
make
in a way
sense.
that's like, okay, you guys are the outlier. Every single modern device, every contemporary device, has this port. You even have this port, like to Drew's point, on a lot of your devices. Why is this one phone, your one device, an outlier in that?
I mean, it's not just the phone, right? It's the iPad, the phone,
Yeah, iPads.
a couple other things. I mean, honestly, the only thing that I have of Apple that has the USB-C is the AirPod charger.
Really? AirPod chargers use USB-C?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
What?
Like the little this guy.
No, hold
Really?
on. Show me the bottom of that case.
Yeah, that is USB-C.
What the?
Nailed it.
Wait,
USB, bro.
I thought they just I thought they just rolled that out.
Nope, I got those 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Strange.
I love how I know what it is, and you guys all want to fight me on it.
Show me the cable.
I didn't fight you on it.
Produce the cable.
I was just surprised.
I'm not
that
producing
didn't-
the cable.
I demand proof
no,
of life
I
on the
saw
cable.
it. I saw it. What are you looking up, Drew?
Yeah, what are you looking at?
What? Oh, USB-C. There's a new standard USB-C PD, which gets up to 240 watts.
Oh, well, there you go. Then you'll.
But
you'll
it's
run
the
gaming
same
laptops.
it's the same port
Okay.
specification. It's like backwards.
All right. At a certain point, though, they're going to hit a limit, right? I mean, it has to.
Maybe.
Yep, Apple is switching. The
We're not
AirPods
gonna be-
Pro charging
okay,
case to
my
USB-C.
My
That's
9-year-old son, when he's like in his 30s, is not going to be using a USB-C port. Come on.
No, because
Or do or have we
because
have we
he'll be
have we
under he'll be living in the water world.
Other than that, have we invented the 3-prong, 100 110 outlet of the.
We're going
of the
back to
home.
30 pin.
What I mean is, like, do you think USB-C is that universal? It's finally happened. That's going to be the port.
I say USB-C another 20 years probably at least.
Okay. Oh, wow. It's already been around for a.
I think in terms of fit, but I think that there's going to be way more alternatives to cables. Like I think there's going to be fewer cables used in general. Like I think if you're serious about power supply stuff, you're going to be using just a desktop with a dedicated power supply, and you're going to be, if you're really serious about data speeds, I don't know, because what is the maximum data transfer rate of Thunderbolt 4?
Thunderbolt 5 was just released, so
I didn't even
I
know
looked that up. Yep. Just like a couple days ago.
I actually don't even use cords anyway. I charge everything with MagSafe.
Okay, yeah, 80 gigabits per second. Like,
Yeah,
and that you can run that on a USB-C compatible port. So I don't know
Is
what
that Thunderbolt 5 or is that
Thunderbolt 5 is 80 gigs,
Yeah,
gigabits or gigabytes? Gigabits per second, probably.
probably gigabits? Yeah.
Which is enough.
That's pretty fast.
Unless the idea is that technology is going to evolve to a point where there's like new file formats that take up terabytes of space and that provides some sort of benefit. It's not. I don't think cables are where the bottlenecks are right now.
Okay, this is a bit of a digression, but like what you just said, like the terabytes of space or whatever. It seems like the new paradigm, like what, again, back to my like 9-year-old son when he's in his 30s, the new paradigm seems to be no one's going to be measuring anything. It's just going to be there. It's like
it's
going to be data that's transferred.
We're hitting the point. Most people,
no one's going to be like worrying
difference.
about running out of space in their hard drive. It's going to be like this whole new.
It's happening with web development too, like with performance on web dev stuff. We're reaching the point where it's easy enough, it's relatively accessible enough to build a site that could not be made faster in a way that the human senses can comprehend.
It's not even about that though. It's not like performance and speed and load and stuff like that. What I mean is, you have a 4K, which is going to be nothing by the time, again, 2040, whatever.
But that too, like people don't, like if you hit like 8K, like how you can't notice anything beyond that.
Like 4K video about a half hour long, you're looking at, I don't know, a 5 gig file or something like that. No one's going to talk about that anymore. That's my that's my fortune.
Mm-hmm.
No one's, my Nostradamus moment here is no one's going to be talking about the 5 gigs that is required to store that file.
They don't talk about it now.
Exactly. So at a certain point, it's just going to be like, it's there. It's just there, and how it's stored, the space that it takes up. Our generation, and even your, us, even though we have a bit of a gap between, Drew and me and Carl.
I'm married now.
Yes, so you're older. We talk about like
I'm married. I know about 9/11, and I know
back when we used to
about the
burn
file system.
Back when we used to burn CDs, and it was like 750 megs. That's what you were saving, or that disk icon, that save icon, that was based on 128 megs or whatever it is.
I don't think it was megs.
But what I'm saying is like we're at a whole new level where no one's going to be talking about that. No one's going to be.
It's just
no one.
It just
talks about it now.
Like it is just an extension of ourselves.
About it.
There are still
people, and those people
Nerds.
are basically No, they're gamers, because these fucking games nowadays are so large. You get like maybe 2 or 3 games on your computer.
But that's because you have to you're still at this weird place in technology where you actually have to take files down to your hard drive to play the game.
You don't necessarily. It depends.
Yeah, I know.
Like a lot of the games are the cloud.
Yeah, the Stadia kind of approach where you're actually streaming content and it's control
Xbox
inputs
has it,
stuff like that.
I'm sure the PlayStation has it.
At
Switch
a certain
has
point, even the sexy new crazy 25 gig game is going to get to a point where it's like, okay, we can just stream it all.
Well,
Straight
the
from
writing's
cloud.
the writing's been on the wall for this for a long time. Xbox jumped the gun on it when they released the original Xbox One in like 2012, 2013. It was ahead of its time in some evil ways. And a lot of it is kind of insidious because I do think that the future of most computing is cloud-based, that you just stream to your device. And that's one of the reasons that I don't think that really anybody needs... You can do cloud-hosted compute for transcoding video, for editing video, for... what's the actual name for when you take like a Adobe Premiere file and you make it into an MP4? What do you call that? Rendering?
Encoding.
Yeah, that shit, the stuff that you need a beefy machine for, it's now extremely reasonable and approachable to just have a Chromebook and then rent server space, pay as you go. So it costs you $7 to render out that 2-hour video or whatever.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that, but
you don't agree with the what?
I don't think it works. I don't think it works that well like that at scale. But I think for the average person, it would be fine.
I think the only reason it doesn't work that well at scale is a knowledge.
I don't
gap.
think I'm thinking about things like movie makers and stuff like that, like recording their video.
No, I think
We're
movie
doing that right now.
studios could, because basically they can sign up for almost like a server cluster.
It just
like
gets really expensive, like really fast. Is all I'm saying.
But
like,
so
much
is
more
$3,000
expensive than
rig.
It's gonna
yeah,
get
but
cheaper
like that
eventually.
$3,000 rig isn't a constant cost throughout the
So
whole thing.
I've run the numbers. Sorry, go ahead.
These are in the numbers.
No, it's fine. I mean, I'm just saying you pay like, let's say $3,000. It's probably more.
Stop bouncing your knee.
Thank you. It's probably more than that, but either way, you pay $3,000, and over the course of making a movie is usually like 5 years.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine that like the compute would cost less.
You don't pay a subscription. You pay for when you're using it.
I have a whole other.
Yeah, but
take.
you're talking about people using it like throughout the whole like production phase.
I have a whole not necessarily. I have a whole like other criticism though. It's like this is just. I mean, it kind of sounds libertarian, but we're just selling off.
Yeah, we're not owning anything anymore.
We have no independence anymore. I can't just
that shit is gone. That ship has sailed.
I can't create some documentary in my basement anymore. I can't. This is like ham radio kind of stuff. Like I just can't. I'm not free. I can't just do what I want to do. Now I have to like rely on some infrastructure up in the cloud owned by Google or Microsoft.
And now they can
Amazon
like, use all of your data, and
I'm constantly running my shit through fucking AWS servers, and they're spying on me, and they are getting rights to my creative property.
Which obviously, like I said, that shit's all very insidious. They're still going to sell you a 4090 if you want to buy a 4090. And in fact, compute costs, I mean, they're spiking recently, but overall, they're coming way down. For the most part, I think that the reason that it will become ubiquitous, especially for, I think that the big shops will still own their own hardware in the same way that like big places still own their own hardware now and resist going to the cloud for architecture stuff. But you can't beat pay as you go if you're just getting your feet wet. Like you can't.
I think the big shots will be the first ones to go over to the pay as you go. Why would they? I mean, if they see any semblance of savings, they'll be like, "Fuck that, we're not going to buy."
The economics.
I don't think so. I think like the big issue with the big guys is that they're control freaks.
No,
like
they are. They're all about like how much savings can we get.
We've worked with plenty of clients, and you know this, that are like they're more worried about like owning the stack and having their own security people in there and not having any external people, like any external sources allowing them to have like any control at all. So
I was specifically
I disagree
more
with
like
you.
referring to movie studios.
Yeah, but they're not necessarily. Yeah, okay. Maybe.
Like the ones that really need the compute power,
Yeah, but
out.
as far as like infrastructure as a service, I don't see like I wouldn't see the automotive industry going to infrastructure as a service.
Yeah. That's
First of all, they're still on like Windows 7 and using like
they're it's all about intellectual property and what have you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Drew, you got interrupted like
no, that's
20
okay.
times.
So
get used to it, bro.
No, that's fine. What I was going to say was the economics of it are just such that the big guns that are providing the cloud services, the Amazons, the Microsofts, the reason they're able to do that and sell it to you as a service is because they have the economics to do it, to run serverless infrastructure where they can kind of ping it off of different people. So if you're big enough, it still makes sense economically to own your own hardware if you're using it enough, if you're getting enough out of it, if you have the margin to pay for the overhead of maintaining that stuff on your own. Just the fact that you can have the same workflow as a movie studio without needing to pay $7,000 on a rig. You can buy a $300 Chromebook and you can spend $200 actually rendering out a 2-hour long video and whatever over the course of a couple of months, and like working on it and then rendering it out and rendering out different versions of it. Like, you can't beat that because the upfront overhead is so much lower. And even just looking at something like GitHub code spaces, which is basically VMs that run on a cloud that you can spin up and turn off and that end automatically after a certain amount of time. There's cool features that you get off of that, right? Like you can have a shared environment so that you don't have to have it works on my machine bullshit between people, and everything's pre-configured. So the setup is literally just you click a button, you launch it. And it's actually not that expensive. If you wanted to, I want to find the calculator. Where's the calculator?
Well, if you're on Windows,
it's just Windows S and Calc.
Calc.
Yeah.
If you're on a Mac, it's Command Space Calc.
So if you wanted to do an 8-core with 16 gigs of RAM, just having that running, which multiple people can work in it at the same time, it's 72 cents an hour.
It gets expensive really fast.
It does not beat $3,000 a year if you're working if you're actually coding 20 hours a week and you're working 48 weeks a year.
Bro, I'm not even using that much compute, and my fucking Versal instance is charging me $1,000 a month. So
you are using that much compute, and they're not paying for the compute with that Versal stuff. It is that's all bandwidth, and that's because of custom fonts. And
no, you are 100% correct.
That's
because my friend Drew, who optimized it, didn't actually put the fucking Next fonts in there, but it's cool.
I did put the Next. You can't load Next. Next fonts isn't compatible with the bullshit 1999 Type Foundry.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man, we got
it. Yeah, it is. I looked it up. I looked into it.
You still have to send the font. The file still has to get to the user.
No.
It doesn't have to get to the user.
No, it does. It does.
You still have to send it over the wire, which is why
Drew.
using a Google font is preferred, because Google's on the hook for the bandwidth and they can fucking afford it.
All right, let's wrap this segment up. Come on,
calm down.
Drew, wrap it up.
Drew, calm down, Drew.
So it would cost.
Calm down, Drew.
If you
had 72 cents.
If you had a GitHub code space running 20 hours a week, 48 weeks a year, with 8-core and 16 gigs of RAM, it would be $690 a year.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Let's do
which is economical.
Album on display. I almost forgot the name of the segment.
But wait a minute. Let's go back to that. So $690 a year.
Yeah.
All right, and how long do you typically keep your computer?
I don't know, 3 years.
So you're looking at $1,800, $2,000, which is about the same cost.
About $2,000. Yeah, but the difference is
I'd rather just buy a computer and own it.
That's fine, but you gotta front that up cost or up front. You have to make that commitment.
I just put it on a credit card.
That's true.
Apple
but you're still committing to having to pay that. It's less flexible.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I could see that. In the end, I do actually agree with you that a lot of the stuff is,
And I'm mostly playing devil's advocate on this stuff. I of course recognize I own all my own shit. I of course recognize the benefits of that. I'm just saying that it is economical, and so it's hard to beat that pressure.
It does.
Here's
the direction that things seem to be going.
Yeah, here's the thing that just popped in my head, and I'm sure it's solved, but I'm just curious about it. Like if you're using what's it called, GitHub what?
Code Spaces, which by the way, it's you can get it down to 18 cents an hour if you only need 4 gigs of RAM.
So my concern with that. And again, I'm pretty sure it's solved, but I haven't seen or read anything on it. If you're working in a public space, like Starbucks or something, and and all of your shit has to go through the wire, you can't just, it's not on your machine really. Like that, could that be a security issue?
Not any more than when you pull the environment variables down from Vercel, or you send an environment variable file over Slack. It's.
Yeah, I just mean because you're on a public network and you're actively connecting to cloud server rather than
actually
just
it's even
on your local machine.
It's even. I mean, you don't have to connect to the Wi-Fi, but the only.
But you do have to connect to the Wi-Fi. I mean, unless you have like a hotspot, but
No, I'm saying like if you are working in a coffee shop on your regular machine, like you're at the coffee shop for the Wi-Fi, so you're plugged into the internet anyways. The only thing that you are is really being sent over the wire is your inputs and whatever it is necessary to actually render what's going on your screen. Like it doesn't have to actually send you environment variables. It doesn't have to send you
right. Yeah,
like that stuff doesn't actually cross the network.
Most of the things are going to be loaded in RAM anyways. It's not. You're probably not going to be sending that much. It's not going to be that much different than just working in a typical IDE and doing typical.
No, the main
commits,
reason
stuff.
you're not paying for the cores and the RAM to run the IDE. You're paying for that to run your like dev server.
Exactly. To actually like load a text file, and I mean that's nothing. Like
Yeah.
you could do that on a phone. Like I mean
Yeah,
even a
that's
shitty
most of the
phone.
shit that's
Yeah.
actually being sent over the wire is just
Yeah.
the actual. Like
It's
view of
probably,
the-
I mean, for all intents and purposes, almost the exact same. It's just working on your regular, as far
You're
as the
ju- yeah.
packets
Well, I mean,
being
you are just.
going back
It's
and forth.
basically like it's functionally you're remoting into a just some other computer sitting somewhere else. Like
Yeah,
that's
so
literally what's
it's
happening.
basically like a remote desktop.
Almost like you're
It's like an
constantly
optimized
testing,
desktop, yeah.
or you're constantly testing things on like a testing or staging. You know, like you're constantly pushing up and then loading it, you know, through your browser or whatever.
Yeah, the other cool thing about code spaces that I really like is exactly that your dev server can be accessed by other people just immediately. And if you want to test webhooks and stuff, you can just, and you can do all this stuff on your local machine. Of course, again, this is just something that runs out there, but there is something very nice about having it all pre-configured and having a bunch of pre-built solutions for doing these things.
If anything, it's going to give you a little bit more of a real world proxy to like what this performance is actually going to be
Yeah.
that you're developing.
I can see that.
Rather than your local environment that might be so robust that you're like, oh, it looks
This is incredible.
perfect
It's
for
amazing.
me. This is
It's like,
this
yeah,
is
because
awesome.
you're running the
Everything's great.
database
Yeah.
in a Docker container next to your
exactly.
web app. What the fuck are you talking about?
Computer like, you know, hardware and stuff aside, it still bothers me though a little bit. Like there are benefits for sure, and I can see that, but it's still like it just feels like it's yet again, you know, someone trying to like be a middleman to something that we already have.
Definitely. No, definitely.
what I mean?
I was talking to Isaac.
You know what I
about
mean?
this.
It's like it's like
Freedom
it's like,
ain't free, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, though. It's like we have local dev servers, we have other servers that we can push stuff up to. We have the tools locally and all that kind of stuff. We can sync our settings for crying out loud. But it's like, if I use your thing, I now have to pay you monthly to do the exact same thing I'm doing locally.
The other thing that's,
you know,
Codespaces is also incredible for open source, because if you want to contribute to an open source project, the traditional way that you have to do that, I mean, contributing to any project, literally any repository. And the reason I really like pre-configured Codespaces in a repository is because, hey, Carl, I want you to get into this project that I've been working on. And there's just 5 steps that you need to do.
that's nice. Yeah,
it's going to take at least an hour for you to get actually set up. And there's like going to be a bunch of annoying things that happen along the way. Codespaces, you click a button and you're in it.
That is definitely cool. Like I think that's awesome.
And
it's
with
like-
open source, you're
but again,
in it and you
but
can
again, is
contribute
that
back, open a pull request right from there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if speed is an issue, then yeah, sure, I think that's really great. But at the same time, like, it may take me like a half hour or an hour to get it set up on my local machine, and now I'm not paying somebody a monthly fee.
But now every time there's some sort of configuration change, like I have to tell you about it, or you have to respond to that.
I get it. No, yeah, I see the pros. It's just one of those.
I
things
see the
where
cons.
it's like,
I get it.
Yeah, it's just another one of those things where it's like, oh, you know how we could make more money? We could just, you know, inject ourselves in the middle here.
No, I mean, because GitHub, of course, is owned by Microsoft, and if you're a cloud storage provider, of course, you're going to build services that encourage people to use your cloud shit so that you can mark it up to them. Of course,
I do think it's cool. Like I think it's cool. It's more just like
you can go up to $3 an hour.
The capitalism of it. That's what I don't like.
But I'm just like, if you're a large company, if you're a big ass company that's footing the bill for this, and you're looking at numbers like 72 cents an hour for your program to actually work, like that's nothing. It's nothing.
No,
you're
and
absolutely
honestly,
going to do that. Oh, and
honestly,
you get to control the environment instead of having it distributed to a bunch of machines.
In this current project that I've been working on at work, it would have benefited from it like immediately, because I had to like get 3 people up to speed real quick, and you know, if they could have just logged in and hit a button, it would have been way better.
If the development was as easy as opening a Google Doc, which that's the promise of this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat that.
In the next, I would say in the next like few weeks, Drew will probably have convinced us all to use.
I've already made I'm already laying in 15 other beds that I've made on that front. So I think I've got to pause on making any sweeping configuration changes. I don't know, Carl, you weren't there, but I decided, and I'm doing it, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be amazing. But I decided to take a break on our flagship product. That spoiler, everyone, we're working on a product to make an open source project that I want to distribute with As We Do Crime, which you would know if you came to the meetings. And because it's like state managed, there's no like really good state management solutions for RSC yet, and so I want us to make one, and that's what I'm doing. And then so I'm taking a week break to write the first version of that.
Well, now we don't feel so bad for not working on the thing.
I am still working on the thing,
You
just
should
in kind of a
still feel
backwards.
bad.
You should feel bad just all the time, just unrelated to work. You should just feel bad.
Just permanently feel bad.
I just
Are
made
we
that
done?
up.
No, we have to do
No!
album on display.
We're not even halfway there,
Guys,
Carl.
I am fucking tired.
Come on, let's just do it. We got 8 minutes.
All right.
Album on display is the last thing, and then we're calling it.
All right, that's fine. Album on display.
I
I
can't even see it
specifically
right
picked
now.
this cover because it's so provocative.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so I'm
The
gonna
cover
describe
is
it.
a painting that's
you're
called Ice
describing
Cream.
it?
No, I'm just saying the cover's a painting called Ice Cream. So go ahead, describe it.
Oh, it actually is a real painting.
It's a real painting.
Oh, that's cool. So it's a woman licking what looks to be caramel apple, but I'm sure it's ice cream of some sort. She's got red hair, kind of tilted off to the side. It's very colorful. Is that like collar and a shirt that's all yellow, or is that just like random?
I think it's random shapes.
Yeah,
That
that's all I got.
is the mascot of the Wendy's Fast Food Corporation licking an apple because she has never had any non-fast food before, so she doesn't know how to approach it.
Hey, what's really funny is that like she ate like half the apple, and then now she's licking the other half. Like, do you see that?
Well, we can't see what's on the other side of what I am going to assume is an apple. So she could be making
That's
out with the
true.
worm.
That's also true. I feel like I should know this.
That was released in 2013, October 15th, 2013,
What is this? What is this Zoomer bullshit?
on Mom and Pop Records. Indie
What?
rock stuff.
Of course, it's indie rock. Do you
Yeah.
listen to anything else?
I've shown a
me a
lot
hint.
more than indie rock. It's primarily a two female vocalists, like a duet kind of thing, but it is a whole band. But that's kind of what they're known for, is the harmony vocals between these two women. They're Brooklyn-based.
First Aid Kit?
No,
Keegan and Sarah?
no.
My Morning Jacket.
No, there's no women in my morning jacket.
No women. It's just a bunch of dudes.
I feel like I should know this one, but I don't.
Fiona Apples.
Apples.
That would be fun. Did you say
No.
close? Is that what it actually your whole video just went to mud, so I can't even.
I'm sorry.
Fucking
No,
wax.
it's fine. I don't think it's you. It's probably me.
No, it's happening for me too.
What else did I say? I first heard of this band because they were, obviously it's always like some Wilco reference, but they were playing Wilco's festival. I don't even know what year it was. It was probably like 2015, 2014
Yeah.
or something like that. This actually charted too on the Billboard 200 chart. It got up to 150, which obviously is fairly low in the chart, but still, I mean, for an indie record, it's up there.
Found the painting.
Put us out of our misery.
No,
If you
hold
find
on.
the painting, you're gonna find it.
I found the painting, but I don't know if it's gonna tell me who band that used it. Yeah, put us out of our misery.
Kill us, Randy. Kill us.
All right, so it is Lucius, Lucius.
I actually just found it as you said it, motherfucker.
Okay, and it's called Wildewoman, like kind of wildebeest, but Wildewoman. And this is yet another band that there was a married couple in the band that got divorced, and they've continued to release records. So I forget.
Yeah, Randy,
which
I'm
one
really
of
glad
the...
that your wife isn't doing that. Mary isn't doing music with you.
Nope, she is not doing music with
That would
me.
not be
but
good.
yeah, it's very strange. Like I forget who was married to who, but one of the primary female vocalists that are front this band was married to the drummer, and they got divorced, and they took a little time off during like the pandemic and everything, but they just released another record, so everything is kosher as far as I know.
Are the vocalists related?
No, it's Jess Wolf and Holly Leisig, I believe is how Leisig.
They always look the same. It's really funny.
Yeah, well, they always dress the same. Yeah, but actually,
And their hairstyle is the same. And
Yeah,
their eyes,
that's-
their makeup's the same. Yeah, it's their shtick. Okay.
that's their shtick. I mean, they've gotten a lot of comparisons to like girl groups of the '60s and stuff, but their voices meld really, really well together. They do a phenomenal job of like matching and harmony and what have you, and it gives you a very unique texture to the music. So it's indie pop. It's your kind of more straight ahead music, but with the two women fronting it, with Jess and Holly fronting it, it's a very unique quality. So definitely recommend give it a listen. Specifically, if you want to like just pick a track really quick, which is probably playing under this whole thing, I would suggest "Turn It Around," which has a really, really cute lyric to it. It's basically like you're looking at through the wrong end of a telescope. And turn it around. It basically evoking like, okay, you're looking at this event in can't see the forest for the trees, I guess.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good album, and they have a few albums, and all of them are pretty darn good. And,
Awesome.
Yeah. That's it. Check it out.
Randy, do you want to plug your band's open rec?
Oh, yeah. My band, The Bell Beat, is looking for a fourth member.
I'm here right now.
Nope.
Oh, damn.
That was so
Fucking got his
fast.
ass.
Hey, dude.
I
Dude, what is it, back culture fit?
He doesn't need a drummer.
I can't mix business with pleasure, Carl.
What do you do?
He
What
makes
is this?
business with pleasure all the time. What are you
What is
talking
this?
about?
We don't make any money on this.
So
What are you looking for?
we were a 4-piece, we were a 5-piece, we were a 4-piece, and
Then you were a 3-piece.
I can't disclose. Yeah, now we're a 3-piece. I can't disclose the specifics of it, but essentially, yeah, we're a 3-piece now, and we're looking to return to a 4-piece if at all possible. And we're looking for someone that can do harmony, vocals, maybe a little bit of lead, and guitar and keys. Doesn't matter which one that they're proficient in, preferably both. Basically, we're looking for another me in the band. Like, if we could have 2 Randys in the band, that would be ideal.
Cloning is
All
really
right,
on
I'll do
point
it.
right now.
I'll do it. All right. I mean, you broke me down.
And we have a show November 4th coming up in Michigan, if anyone's based out of there. But yeah, whatever. Or around there. It'd be kind of fun. Their own thing.
You can inquire at Randy's band at WeDoCrime.com.
No, just the... No.
You can't do that. You can't just say things on the show that create tickets in a fucking Jira board.
The Bellbeat.
I can. I just did.
But other than that, we have a voicemail, WeDoCrime.com/voicemail. We have a YouTube channel, YouTube.com/@WeDoCrime. We have a website, WeDoCrime.com/
Which Carl is actually going to be making some big improvements to soon.
Yes, he will. Actually, Carl's going to completely revamp that website.
Yep. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see what he comes up with.
A little bit more focus on the podcast.
I'm actually really excited about that too. Speaking of our voicemail,
He's taking that very well.
You actually, if you're interested in Randy's band, just leave a voicemail or just tell him his band sucks, because it does.
Do it.
His band doesn't suck.
So
I
so
actually
mean.
really like Randy's band a lot.
I know.
I give him shit a lot, but I actually really enjoy his band.
Well, thank you.
They're really good live too.
I've listened to every one of your albums.
One of the better local indie bands that I've listened to live.
Well, we're back and we're trying to make another go at having fun and playing music. So it's gonna be fun, and that's it.
We love you.
Episode 41. And yes, we love you. Drew loves you.
Now watch this drive.
So we have to protect our genius.
We're not selling anybody's data.
Now watch this drive.